Hey everyone, and welcome to Spotlight North Carolina Cooperative Extension. I'm your host, Rebekah Benton. North Carolina Cooperative Extension is comprised of two land-grant universities, NC State University and NC A&T State University. We are located in all 100 counties, including the Koala boundaries. Now today, I have our special guest is Ethan Jordan. Ethan, thank you for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
Now, Ethan, tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I live over in the northern part of Columbus County. I live on the farm with my dad, and I've been farming with my dad for about 4 years since I've graduated from college, full time.
And now you also have a connection with the Columbus County Fair, which we have coming up soon.
Yes, ma'am, we do. It's coming up soon. It is
connection with it. Your connection.
Yeah,
with the fair.
what it is I'm on the fair board, and I've actually started. In the past 3 years when I started, I took over the Livestock Show and we brought it back.
Okay, so the Livestock Show's been going on about 3 years now. So what kind of livestock do y'all have there?
We have all the animals in the barn. We have chickens, cows, and pigs, but the one thing we have at the show is just a pig show on Tuesday night.
Okay, all right. Now, what is your fair board member background? Like, how long have you been on that board? What do you do for that board?
I started 3 years ago, and then that's when I took over the role of trying to bring back the Livestock Show. And I started working with the FFA teachers, and Freddie McPherson has helped me a lot along the way. And we have grown that show into a decent-sized show in the past 3 years.
Now, you said you've been on this fair board for like 3 years.
Yes, ma'am.
And one of the biggest things, and we have talked about your accomplishments, but highlight how you said you got the Livestock Show back to working. So let's talk a little bit about that accomplishment. How did you start that process?
Well, as I said, actually I got put on the fair board by a previous fair board member, Calvin Duncan. I was actually working on his farm that we rent from him, and he come out and stopped me one day and asked me would I be interested in taking over his spot on the fair board. And I did, and I told him yes, and then that's where I started that. Well, I was sitting in the first meeting that night, and they started talking about the Livestock Show. Jess brought it up, and Jess wanted to bring it back and kept talking about wanting to bring it at the meeting. And I sat there one day, and I remember back when I was in the 6th grade, I showed a cow in the spring show, the last spring show they had. And I thought it'd be interesting for kids to enjoy what I did, because I enjoyed it. And my dad grew up doing it, and other people in the community were showing animals too. And I thought it'd be good for kids to do that. And there's really not a lot in this county for kids that come off of full-time farms to have something to show what they do with every day, like working with cows or with pigs or any other thing. And I thought it'd be a good idea to have something else, especially for the kids who live on full-time farms, to show what they do other than, like playing baseball and stuff. It'd be something for us to have.
Right, and I completely understand that, and it seems like it has taken effect very fast and very effective as well.
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
Thinking about that, because you said right now y'all show pigs, do you think we'll get bigger, or the Columbus County Fair will get bigger and show other animals?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the other night, Ashley Fowler was out there at the fairgrounds, and she mentioned to me something about a chicken show and doing it on Saturday for next year. And like I said, we're always open to ideas and trying to build and make it better. And I've thought about it, and we are probably going to work towards bringing chickens in to show next year on one night.
That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Now, what goes on at the fair that ties back to agriculture? Tell me about all the agriculture aspects that you can think of.
Well, what ties back to agriculture, you have the Evelyn Raven building where you show off the different stuff you grow in your garden and stuff like that. You have the livestock building. We have a few tractors on the fairgrounds. One thing I brought back last year is I've got the FFAs to have a little small competition within our county, and they're actually building little 164 farm scenes. This year is the theme of the strawberry at the fair, so I've got all of the 4 FFAs in the county. They're going to be building me a small strawberry scene, and they will be judged by the Farm Bureau Board. Nice. And one other thing that brings back ag to the fair is we just finished the tobacco barn out at the fairgrounds. And that's probably, I would say it was a joke the other day, but that would probably be the last tobacco barn built like that in my lifetime.
So it was not an easy build?
No, it was not. From what I understand, I had no part of it as far as you know, Mr. Bill Worley and them built it, and they done a fantastic job. But I'm sure that, you know, to go back to get the right dimensions of it and build the tier poles and stuff, it was a...
Absolutely. Now, we were talking on the phone the other day, you and I, and you were telling me how the Livestock Show actually got started in Columbus County. You had some history with it. Was it your dad?
Yes, ma'am, my dad.
Tell me about that.
I've heard my dad and Chandler Worley talk about it a few times. But if I remember right from my dad, where the old 701 lanes was at, before, now where the Truist Bank is building, there was a drive-in there. And my dad said the first time he can remember showing, he showed a steer there, and he said they tied up their cows where the drive-in was, and they had set panels up. And then I think after there, it went to where Hills was. Mr. Kenny Coleman had a slaughterhouse or some type of animal holding place there, and they had to show there after that.
Okay, so there's a lot of ties, and then it kind of transitioned into the Columbus County Fair.
Yes, ma'am.
I love that. I love that. Now, tell me something. Now, when we're talking about Cooperative Extension, what kind of ideas do you have of us tying everything together with the Columbus County Fair? Because we're very involved with the fair, but are there any additional ideas you may have? Or things that you've worked on in the past?
Well, the one thing I would like to see is I'd like to see Kindergarten Day and Special Friends Day have more ag education out there. You know, teaching the little kindergartners about ag. One thing that's coming this year, and we hope, is there's a small miniature cotton gin that we can set up, and kids can actually see how cotton is ginned, and we're going to bring that in. That Extension is going to help us with.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Now, what are some new things that folks, well, we just talked about, is there anything new other than the barn that y'all just built that folks coming into the fair might see?
Not right off, no, not that I know of.
So right now we're looking at the new
barn,
barn,
is our big thing
and then
this year.
Fingers crossed we're going to look for the chicken show next year,
yes,
as well as that's going to be exciting. I'm excited about this. Now, can you tell me your most memorable experience being involved as a Fair Board member, or just your most memorable experience with the Columbus County Fair?
The first memorable experience I had was, I would say it was the first year I showed pigs. And like I said, we thought we had a good idea how it was going to go, and it turned out to be, I can remember sitting there just worried that it was not going to go good. And Freddie McPherson walked up behind me and said, "It's going to work, it's going to work." And when we got done showing the pigs, and the kids who won were showed, and they took their pictures, and we started selling. I can remember standing there at the corner of the grandstand, looking around and seeing everybody happy, and all, and it was just something that and the kids were happy, and I love to see the kids happy and smiling, and everybody was, you know, it was something that I couldn't explain how I felt. It was just amazing to me, and I felt glad, and it made me want to do more and better and keep on, and it really made my day for kids to come up to me. And even now, if I walk in the grocery store, kids that show, they'll say, "Oh, there's Mr. Ethan, he's in charge of the fair." And you know, they say the fairman, I'll say, "No, I'm in charge of the Livestock Show."
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is an amazing feeling though, when like you see smile on children's faces, and you know you helped grant that smile that's there. I mean,
I mean, there's kids that, you know, they really didn't know much, you know, that it was new to them, and they actually enjoy it. And you hear people looking forward to it, and you hear people all the time coming up to me, moms and dads, thanking me for doing it, and that means the world to me.
Absolutely. Now, this was a memory when you were a Fair Board member, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you have a personal one from your childhood? Because the Columbus County Fair has been here for many years.
Yes, ma'am.
What year is this? I cannot remember. Was it 53rd or 49? I think it was 53rd on the book.
Yes, ma'am.
I think.
The one I can remember, my dad and my granddad were on the advisory board out there at the fair. And my dad, he did a lot of work out there too. And when I was real young, I can remember sitting on the fender of Ed Miller's tractor, 4020, that he would use to drag cars out of Demolition Derby. And I can remember riding with my dad out there on the Demolition Derby track when he would be carrying cars off. And and even when I go back down there, I still help Little Joe on Friday and Saturday night. I am the youngest Fair Board member, right? So I always try to help as much as I can.
Absolutely.
And I go down there, and I can always remember where I was sitting at on the fender of that tractor that night watching the demolition derby, and that's one thing that kind of makes me remember my childhood when I walk down there every time.
Oh yeah. So if I am someone that's coming from, never been to the Columbus County Agriculture Fair before, tell me what I can expect to see.
Well, when you first walk in the gate, when you first pull up, you're going to see to the right our new tobacco barn. That's the first thing you're going to see. And we've worked really hard to get that barn. And some things you'll see, if you come in on Tuesday night of the fair, that'll be when the Livestock Show is going on. And that'll be, if I tell anybody come Tuesday night, that's the night to come.
And that's opening night,
yes,
right?
ma'am. It's opening night. That's when we try to have that show there to draw crowds in, and it's not too packed. So that way, if we had an animal to get out, we could quickly manage it. Because when you get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it's packed.
Yes, yes. That's normal. My night is on Tuesday nights to go.
Yes, ma'am.
I like to see the Livestock Show. I'll peek in on that, and then I also most of the time they'll have some entertainment going on, and then you guys usually have rides, I think, and a lot of exhibits and booths and vendors. So there's a lot of good things going on there.
Ma'am.
I enjoy myself every time.
I did understand the other night at the last meeting, all our vendor space was
bought up or taken.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
well, that's
ma'am.
pretty good. That's pretty good. Awesome. So how could folks reach out, or who do they reach out to if they want to get their children here in Columbus County involved in the Livestock Show? Have you already got a list made? Is it too late to enter? How do they go about that?
Well, what we do is we get the pigs from Prestige Farms. And that way everybody has an even start. We get all the same pigs off of the same group. And we normally try to give them out in July, around July, whenever we can get them from the farm we receive them from. And we try to get out about 40 pigs a year.
Okay.
And we've done that well. Since we kind of do this show different than others, we give out our own pig. We give out the pigs, and they take them, and then they bring them back that Monday night before the fair. We don't let other people enter their own pigs, so we can all keep it on an even playing field.
Okay.
And that way there's not, you don't have an oversized pig that somebody's had that's a year, older than what the rest of them are.
Okay. So would they need to get on a list to get one of those pigs? Would they just contact
They
you?
would contact me or Freddie McPherson or somebody like, me or Freddie McPherson would be the ones to contact.
And so they take care of the pigs from July until October.
Yes, ma'am.
And do they work with? Are they allowed to work with the pigs?
Yes, ma'am.
And work at home with them and show them and things
yes,
like
ma'am.
that?
They want to train them at home to show them. And how you do it is you have a little stick and you tap it on the left and the right of the pig, and it holds it, and that's how it keeps it under control.
Okay.
And the more you're around that pig, the more it's used to people, and the more it's used to sound, and the more you work with that pig, the more comfortable it is. They're just like dogs. It's nothing for me to talk to somebody who is showing in the grocery store or on the phone, and they'll tell me we have our pig trained. We can make it sit and get a treat. I hear that a lot.
I've seen some TV episodes like where people have pigs instead of dogs and stuff like that. It's really interesting how smart they actually are. Now all 40 entries usually come back and enter into the livestock contest.
Yes, ma'am.
And then y'all take the pigs back later, right?
What we do is we take them up. Some people have an option to keep them, and they can come back and get them. They can load them out Tuesday night, or I'm out at the fair every night. When I get off work, normally I try to get there by 5, 6 o'clock every night. And we'll help them load out after 11 when the gates close if it's somebody that's wanting to keep their pig. But normally what we do is when we run them through the sale at the end, Mr. Buddy McPherson takes them, and he'll take them back to his place, and he'll keep them to the following Monday till the sale he has on Monday.
Okay, the auctioneering sale.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I've had Buddy on here before. It was a great interview there too. So, if somebody wants to get up with you and grab a for next year for the Livestock Show, would they call Mac, or would they call you, or would they call the fairgrounds to get on that list?
To get on that list to show? You could call the fairgrounds, and Mac would be more than glad to give you my number. You can call me at any time you want to, and I'd be more than glad. My number is 910-640-9985.
Okay.
I'll answer any time. we'll be more than glad to work with getting people on the list.
All right. Ethan, thank you so much for being with us today. And audience, thank y'all for watching this episode of Spotlight North Carolina. We look forward to seeing you next time.